Hello and welcome to the Not a Guru podcast. I'm one of your podcast hosts, Tyler Smith, certified athletic trainer, certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also here alongside the prestigious Dr. Heidi Cook. We are here to help you with personal development, personal growth, and really building a foundation that lasts you your whole life. We're so excited you're here today, and let's jump in.
Howdy ho.
Good evening. How are we this fine Thursday, April?
We are doing good. It's super nice here in Colorado. But I'm 20 minutes late to our recording session because I had a kiddo that didn't want to fall asleep. So
They get that way sometimes. They just like to make their own rules.
yes, my little niece apparently had a babysitter this week, and I don't really know like the full context of it. All I know is the babysitter asked her like, "Why did you do this when I, told you not to do this?" And she said, "Because I'm in charge."
Wow.
uh,
How old is she?
she's almost 3.
Oh,
She'll
there's
be 3 this. She'll be 3 this summer.
some
But
sass coming out of that one.
and anyways, my sister-in-law was like, "So that's new and fun."
I would say it's new. I would doubt that it's going to be fun for a while.
Yeah. And she
'Cause
was just
I'm in
like,
charge.
because I'm in charge. And Rachel was like, I am fearful for my life.
I mean,
What's
let's just hope and pray that it's getting itself out of the way, because if this keeps going, the 13 to 18 is going to be rough. It's going to be real rough.
it's like what do they say? The odds that your toddler are going to kill you are slim but never zero.
Yeah, never zero. Like, and I think I've told this that one time when Quentin like actually like could get out of his room, like
Uh,
crawl out of bed.
yeah.
And I don't know if I'm sure I've told you, I don't know if I said it on the podcast. And you know, like when you're asleep and like you can feel the presence of someone like there.
Yeah.
Was like, I don't know how old he was, like 3 or 4, and he was like 6 inches from my face, and I could just feel. And I opened my eyes, and I was like that, and he started crying and ran, and we finally got him to bed. And I was like, Lindsay and I were sitting there, and I was like, Lindsay, do you think he was thinking about killing me? Because he was just right there, like just right there, and I couldn't see him.
Just
She's like, no, I don't think that was it. I was like, he scared the shit out of me.
that is so spooky. The fact that you did not like punch him or something like out of just fear is
I
wild.
screamed and scared him, and then he like started crying, and it was like a chain reaction. I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought my life was over.
This is not how I intended this to go. But anyways, um, so that's fun. And I have that to look forward to in our upcoming toddler years.
Yeah. So has he been? I mean, is his tendencies lean more toward you or Sam right now, or is it too early to tell?
What do you mean?
Like, if you asked your parents and Sam's parents, like you tell stories and do stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh, that's just like
Oh,
Heidi," or "That's just like Sam."
maybe more towards Sam. I don't know. This is a very unique little boy.
This is a very unique child.
I don't know. I might be too young to tell at this point.
Sure.
Because like right now, like it's all just like, temperament and stuff. And if I, my mom did say that I was an early riser as a baby, and he is a very early riser. Um, so maybe he got that from me.
Quentin's an early riser. He did not get that from me, but
Yeah, I since grew out of my early rising, so hopefully he does too very soon.
Quentin's 13 and he's still doing it. I mean,
Really?
granted, for those of you who don't know, my son's adopted, so there's a definite more of a nurture versus nature aspect to it because my son has very much so a similar person that like a sense of humor that I do, but I think that's because we've spent a lot of time together. But
Yeah.
no, he still will get up at 6 a.m. and he's 13 every morning. He hates if he sleeps in, he'll like be distraught if he's asleep till 6:30 or if it's 7, his whole day just went to shit. He's just like, Dad, I slept in till 7. Can you believe that? And I was like,
What does he
so
do in
he's
the
like, why I don't need to sleep till 7, Dad. Why I need to get up at 6. And I was like, you don't, but
morning?
okay, whatever works.
That's so silly.
Yeah.
Well, he's just a disciplined little man.
And hope so.
How was your week?
It was good. It was doubleheader for Quentin. Neither of which turned out on the good side. I mean, they played better, but we did not win and it was not close. Although the last game was within 9 points toward the end, but um so that was good, but he's hustling, playing hard. So it's good to see
Good.
him kind of pick it up. And then like we were talking before, we only have one more game. It's really quick season. So there's that. This week is just a little bit challenging. My counterpart is on the road with 3 athletes at a track meet, which means I have the other 71 athletes by myself. So that just, it's not bad. It's just a lot of work. You're just constantly moving, trying to play catch up. So,
Rather have 73 athletes or be on the road with three?
oh, I
Home
definitely,
73 or on the road with three?
I mean, for work, the 3 is much like easier. Like you can
Yeah.
pretty much take care of them, but it's also getting to that point in the season where I'm on the road all the time. So I do cherish being at home. Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
just want to be home, especially for the next, like we're gone next weekend. We'll be home the weekend after for an event, gone the next weekend. And so, although we will record one more time, next week is what we refer to in the business and track as Hell Week because it is a tri meet in California. So it's like a logistical kind of just nightmare trying to get, you know what I mean, every single person to the meets and what meet is there. Are they, because you have to qualify for meets. What meet does this person qualify and move forward? One is that one, and like just kind of it's a doozy. So if we can
Yeah.
get through that, the rest of it should be hopefully smooth sailing from there on out.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I
Summer's
hope.
right around the corner.
I know. And I got to get a basketball hoop up this weekend, which that's been a catastrophe. So I didn't
Oop.
think like we bought Quentin for Christmas like a better basketball hoop, like a good one.
Yeah.
Um, but we were gonna put it in the ground, like concrete it in the ground.
Yeah.
And then my dad and my father-in-law, one of the two was like, "Hey, did you call Digline? Because they have to mark it off before you do that." And I was like, "Nope,
Oh,
nope, didn't do that." So we got that
oops.
done. That's good. And then I forgot I think it was my dad is like, "Hey, have you checked with your homeowners association if you could even do this?" And I was like, "Nope, haven't done that either." So trying to expedite, I think we can do it. I think it's almost been approved by everyone, but um, just things I didn't think about. And I was like, "Yeah, we'll be fine." Just didn't even register up here that I needed to do those extra steps. I was just gonna dig a hole,
Do
put a
it.
pole in the ground, do it. But this new world or my neighborhood has an HOA, and I know, I mean, I tell that to people, and they are either just like the HOA is Satan incarnate, or they're like, "Oh, we love our HOA." It's like nowhere in between. I don't know what's going on, but
Feel like I land somewhere in between. Like, I don't love it. One time I got a letter about some weeds in my front yard that weren't even a my yard. It was technically our neighbors. We have like a shared like rock little planters that separate like the front yards.
yeah,
And I think that one, well, I guess I'm not certain, but I'm pretty certain that that one is his. Uh because he maintains everything else in that. We don't touch it, which is why there was weeds in it. Um, and the weeds weren't even that bad. Like, not only was it not our responsibility, but like I also didn't care because they were not bad at all. And like if you drove around the neighborhood, people had giant ass
yeah.
weeds
But
like
how
in
does
their
that
front
work? I
yard.
feel like we get that too. a lot for our trailer because we'll bring it home and work on it for a weekend.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, you can't store your trailer in front of your house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you've been by my house for how many months? But it's not still sitting there. I pay for it to be stored. It's just, it's one of those things where they don't understand the maintenance and getting stuff ready and working on it. But I also I like homeowners associations in the fact where like I like yards to look pretty nice. They don't have to look pristine. Like everyone's got their own, but I don't really need the neighbor with like a car on blocks working on the engine. Like that's not that you can't do that, but I was like, then just
Like
do
the
it
junkyard
do it in the
or
back. Yeah, like do it, in the shop or the garage. Like that's totally fine. I don't need to
it
see it.
drove yeah, it drove me crazy in Littleton. Our neighborhood did not have an HOA, and our direct neighbor, it was a rental house. Like the people who lived there rented the house, and I mean, no issue with that. But they just like I think sometimes, not all the time, I think sometimes like when you're renting and it doesn't feel like yours, there's less of an inclination to like really care for it like it's yours. And literally weeds like as tall as I am, and I'm not that tall, but like 5 foot tall weeds in
Yeah, I
their front
can't.
yard that then like the wind blows and blows all of the seed and everything into our grass. So then I'm constantly like fighting a battle in our lawn. And it's just, I would like pull up to our house and it was just this eyesore. When we sold our house, I literally asked them, it's like, can you just mow it? Just mow all the weeds down because like we're trying to sell our house. And they
Did they
did.
mow it? See, I mean, it's a foreign concept because like even when we rented, we still took care of the yard, mowed, we did everything.
Yeah,
It's just something where we've always just taken pride in our yard and our
yeah,
house looking nice. Like it
totally.
doesn't need, I mean, Lindsay won't own up to it, but like I was thinking about this morning because like we've talked about the term disaster gets thrown around kind of loosely in my house when it's not really a disaster. But
Mm.
this is how she knows that it's always clean, even though she won't admit to it. When we sold our last house, like the last one,
Uh-huh.
the realtor came in and literally told her, I could show this house tomorrow and I don't need anything else done.
Yeah.
Like it's that clean, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
just straightening some stuff up. I can bring someone in there tomorrow. So like our house is just naturally always clean. And so to have, like that amount of weeds, it gives me anxiety thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's
It
no
drove
way
me
I could
crazy.
actually do it. Yeah.
Because like I took pride in how our front yard looked and took pride in our house and all that stuff, and it was just anyways it was
It,
wild. But
it is.
um neither here nor there. But anyways, I'm excited for our episode today.
Yes, it will be a very interesting question and answer session. Boom. There
Q&A,
was no way
Q.
to kick that up. I didn't know where the first one went. I couldn't
Yeah,
tee you up. That's kind of my fault.
after a very long week, I didn't even attempt.
I
So
didn't
we're
even,
just gonna roll. We're
we
gonna
just
roll right into it.
decided no
Um,
on that one.
yeah. We got some great questions submitted by you all, and I'm excited to run through them. There's a pretty good list here. Hopefully, we can make it through the majority. I don't think we'll be able to get to all of them, but um, some of them I think are going to take a little bit longer, and some of them are like a little bit like one-off type questions. But okay, one.
Question one.
This is a good little warm-up question. It's a two-parter. If you had to start over in your career, what would you choose to do?
Like in the same career
No,
or different?
that's kind of part two, but we'll go if you had to like do something different.
Other than athletic training, right?
Yeah.
See, that's interesting because my backup career has always been, I don't know why, I was like, I would be a fireman, a firefighter.
Oh, I could see you
Um,
being a firefighter.
I think that's it. That's my backup. That was always my backup career. Obviously, I'm way too old for that, but um, that and I've always I always thought you could take like fire technology or fire studies which is
Oh,
always interesting. Which, and I would also, I had some friends that did it. I know it's really hard work, but I could also, I really like the outdoors. So I think even expanding that to like fire safety in the wilderness and being able to do like that kind of stuff would be a lot of fun for me.
that'd be
Um,
cool. Yeah. Like a not a park ranger, but like
yeah,
a
those
uh
guys that like,
forest service ranger.
yeah.
There's
Although there's
a
also some interest too as I got into it, like the EMT thing that I'm still kind of waiting for my practical part to be done. Seems very interesting, but I think I'd really like the rescue ones that are like backwoods rescue and stuff like that,
yeah.
where you get a chance to like either go in helicopters or boats or stuff like that. That would be a lot of fun and be kind of get me. I'm not a 9 to 5 desk person usually, and I think that's one of the nice things about a lot of the jobs that I would think is like even though they're more hours if I'm out and doing stuff and it's not like mundane every day, it brings me a lot of joy. So
Yeah. Yeah. I hear ya. I would really struggle with a 9 to 5 too.
yeah.
The second part of that question is if you were to take the same path, like athletic trainer, same career path, is there anything you would change or do differently?
um that's interesting because I want to there's always like a yes component to it because um I think if I was at a different location I might be um in a different spot right now, like just as far as like administration management and stuff like that. If you're at a smaller school you usually get more opportunities, but I always say no because I feel like it's molded me so much into who I am and the ability
Yeah.
to travel different places, get to know different people, and just like appreciate all that I've got to do, even though it's not easy. Is like I don't usually want to trade that for anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that.
I relate that a lot to because you get this question a little bit deeper than the other one is like when you adopt a child, everyone always asks like, well, did you try this? Did you try that? Did you do this? And like, we didn't really do any of those things. And then you get the question it's like, well, do you regret it? Would you have done anything different? And it's like, you're
Mhm.
asking me to take away all my joy and everything in my life. And I can't ever fathom of changing any of that. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense to me. So I always just kind of reluctantly while you can make little minor decisions, I always think the path that I've chosen has really sculpted me into who I am, and I'm not, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Wouldn't undo any of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that.
What about you? You have these fancy questions to answer as well.
I do. If I were to do something different, I definitely, so I actually, when was like younger, because like I decided I wanted to be a PT when I was like 16 years old. So like I had that in my brain like very young. Now I changed my mind a few times and always kind of came back to it. Like that's why I kind of veered off and went the athletic training route for a while. Ultimately returned to the PT world. Um, blah blah blah. But before that, I was trying to decide between if I wanted to pursue something in like health and PT and like take the kind of kinesiology route, or if I wanted to pursue architecture. That was like the other
Ooh,
thing that was like
architecture.
really interesting to me. And now, like looking back, maybe not so much architecture, but like interior design is really interesting to me. Like um I just love the like I would love to be in something like real estate involved, but like be on the like building and designing side of things. So, like if I worked for like a home builder, like a custom home builder or something, and was like part of the design team, I think that would be really cool, and is interesting to me. Um, but yeah, that was kind of like my alternate route, not necessarily like my like backup plan, but that was like what I was kind of wrestling with, like as I was applying to colleges and stuff.
That's
Um,
interesting.
And that
Well,
like still to this day is something that I'm like, that would be really interesting because like I have such a desire now to like I would just love to like flip a house and like take that on as a project. I'm not shitting you. Like I
no,
would love to do that.
I would love to do that too if I didn't have to pay to do some of those things. You know what I mean? Like that'd be
Yeah.
great. The
But
one thing
like the
I was thinking
business
about,
side of it too, like while
yeah,
stressful, is also so interesting to me. Like the like it almost feels this this sounds really bad. I promise I don't have a gambling problem. But
but
like
she
it's
does.
almost like not a gamble, but like there is like a little bit of risk involved. And so there's like this leap of faith that you're like taking on this house and this project and like the decisions that you make are ultimately going to impact how much you can turn around and sell it for, you know?
Yeah. Two things that are interesting about that is this is why you and I vary a little bit different. The business thing is just maybe I get into it if I jumped into it, but it just seems so like I'm just point me in a direction and tell me what to do type person. Like I'm just like the I'm just gonna go. The other interesting part as I thought through this question is I didn't want to put this as a tangent and then I'll let you finish the second one. I feel so blessed with the path that I have taken because I grew up in Boise, Idaho, and I feel like so many things I would have done or could have done outside of this wouldn't have opened my eyes to so many different like places and people and cultures that people in Idaho don't get that I
Yeah.
feel especially during times where things get rough like so blessed to be able to have that perspective in life. And that's one thing that I was as you were talking, I was like, that's something that I just couldn't trade for anything because it's morphed me into like a person that like not a lot of people in Idaho get to be because they don't go to California, Wisconsin, Florida and work with, kids from Kenya, Nigeria, Egypt, like all these things and just get to know this plethora of cultures that we have in this world. So sorry, tangent,
No,
my fault.
I love that. I think that's hell yeah. Um, Now, yeah, if I was going to do something on the same path, if I took the same path, is there anything I would change? It's a good question. I don't think so. I don't think I would have changed anything or like any of my decisions. Again, like it brought me to where I am now, which I'm really happy with where I am now. I wouldn't change anything in like the steps that I took. I think everything I did was like the stepping stone to the next thing. And like I needed each one of those in order to take the next step. Um, like it is interesting because like, I went to undergrad and then I got my degree in athletic training, but I never actually like practiced, because like I went straight into PT school.
Yeah.
And then so like it's like, was that necessary? I think it was. Like it gave me so many skills, holy shit. And just like the education that I had coming into PT school as an athletic trainer, uh, and like having that like hands-on uh skill was like I believe set me apart from a lot of my classmates.
Well, that
And
and like you would, I just know you and I know what we do. And like it also makes you not afraid to put in work because you've
totally,
done so much work. You're like, oh, I'm not like,
yeah.
you just know that there's a different level you can kick into.
Totally, 100%. And like I needed that. I
Yeah.
needed that like second gear because a lot of the people that I was going to school with in grad school were way smarter than me. Um, and so like I needed to be able to like grind it out and, pull 80-hour weeks and all of the like or plus. And I was like, easy peasy, been there, done that, right?
Right.
And we can just turn around and do it again. And so like, yeah, that was super helpful. And then, now I'm not technically like practicing traditional physical therapy but I wouldn't change going to PT school or getting my doctorate degree or anything like that because like I couldn't be doing what I'm doing now without that either. So it's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's all been like a stepping stone one after another. If I could do one thing I wish I could just like go back to my self, like year two of PT school, and just like give myself a hug and say like it's gonna be okay,
It's gonna be yeah.
like you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna figure out a way to make this career work for you, because like I was panicked when like I was dreading going into the clinic every day, and I was like, holy shit, I'm like setting myself up to go do this forever, and I'm already dreading going into the clinic. I was like, this is not good. So anyways, I would, yeah, I wouldn't change anything. I would just maybe go give
Simmer
myself a
down.
hug.
Well, the other thing that you learned that I alluded to too is when you work with so many different people, you're able to, and this has served us in a lot of different aspects. Like you just learn how to connect with people and like how to reach people and talk to people of all different, it's not just one person. You're like, you've got to connect and you've got to be able to communicate with lots of people. And then all of a sudden it becomes like this skill set that you acquire and that you kind of, I don't want to say master, but kind of like you get to a point where
100%.
you're like, I've been in this situation before. I might change things, but I still, you just like learn to like connecting with people because that's what you do all the time.
Yeah, it would be like, I'd spend our day like in the morning, I'm gonna go work with, these athletes that like are very similar to me. And then in the afternoon, I'm gonna go talk to the orthopedic surgeon at like a follow-up appointment with another one of my athletes, and I need to be able to communicate with him. And then after that, I'm gonna go work with an athlete who had a very different upbringing than me, very different background, very different personality, whatever. And I need to be able to connect with him and get him to where
Yeah.
he needs to go. And like it's just, yeah, it is like
And like you said,
same.
we're talking with doctors, so like you get kind of used to like what
Yeah.
like how to communicate with someone who is usually much smarter than you, and you're like, okay, I got to figure this out real quick.
Yeah, yeah, 100%, 100%. um that was a good question. I like that one. Okay, is there a book or podcast that has changed your perspective recently?
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like I'm not a very good one to veer into other um like podcasts other than my one, but I think the one that has been like my 6 month change my perspective was the Dr. John Delaney show. Um,
Mhm.
he's a crisis counselor, and so people will call in and just and his I admire his ability. Like I just he can sit with people through the shit and just speak clearly and in a manner where he feels like he is on like just sitting there like you've been friends your whole life and he's just sitting there talking you through stuff and like some of them are difficult, some of them are literally crazy. Like there's no shortage of crazy shit that people do in this world
Yeah.
that like he calls and asks about like like just but I think just the perspective that he still has like and this is where I'm really trying to adopt this like he also tells everyone that like he like I'm with you, I'm sitting by you and I love you like
Yeah.
just that word especially and I've learned to kind of encapsulate this or trying to do it with some other things that I'm doing is like that's not a word that guys are very comfortable saying especially to each other
Mhm.
like even if you're friends like I even if there's just like and not on this like deep level but just to say to like someone like Sam like hey man love you take care of yourself like
Yeah.
things like that that genuinely guys just get all clammy and weird about that
Yeah.
and he says that a lot he's like I love you guys and like that's where I'm trying to be more comfortable because I think um in some of the stuff he does and he talks about men's health a lot and women health all this stuff but um that's probably another thing that's come up. I feel like I didn't realize how much like men kind of silo themselves a lot and how much we need each other and that's like been a real eye opener for me like
Uh-huh.
guys need other guys to talk to bullshit and like to
Yeah.
actually sit with and like and tell them that like it's all right I love
Actually,
you
like be
we
able to
got this
connect with,
yeah to
not
connect with
just.
girls do a much better job and guys are just like I'm fine and then on the flip side when you don't have that you know putting that all, and I'm not saying it did, but like Sam putting that, you being that everything for them is like too much weight for one person to carry. Like you can't be a mom and a wife and all those things and still hold all of his needs and wants, where like guys can come in and jump in there and be like, fill some of those voids and be some of those ears and avenues for us to discuss. So
Yeah.
other than like, I think he's very talented at what he does. Those things have been very eye opening for me as far as being a male, especially like an older male. Like he always jokes like making friends when you're 40 is as like an adult is the worst thing in the world because none of us want to do that. We're like, no, we're done. I don't have any friends, but um, just learning a little bit more about myself and tendencies that I have that I know, but I don't want to acknowledge has been really eye opening for me lately.
I like that. I like that a lot. What is the podcast called again?
It is called, I'm like, I don't want to say addicted to it, but I just love to listen. Like,
Yeah.
and there's just, I mean, there is, okay, I'll just throw one out there. There's this wild shit that people are doing. Like this lady called in because her husband cheated on her. Okay, that happens every so often on the
Sure.
calls with a coach with a lady who he was coaching his son's little league with. So
Uh-huh.
they were coaching together, kind of developed a relationship, and then
Yeah.
like told her like, I still need to keep coaching for the next year, but we are not going to tell anyone. And like it's just wild stuff. Like no, no, like
Yeah. That's insane.
it's great with him when he's like, if you can leave me speechless, that's pretty good because I do this
Yeah.
for a living. And he's like, but
That's
he just,
crazy.
yeah, there's crazy, and they're not all that crazy. Some of it is, a lot of it is also, um, and we've dealt with this a lot. A lot of it is just, I have overbearing parents that won't, get out of my life. What do I do? I have
Yeah.
a new infant that my parents are telling me how I'm supposed to raise them. Like, what do I do? Like his just ability to be like, okay, like, no, 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 no. Like, let's sit and talk about this and, but do it out of a place of respect and love where you're not being rude is also great. And it's called the Dr. John Delaney Show.
The Dr. John Delaney show. Love it.
Yeah.
Unrelated but sort of related. So my sister lives in a small town in rural Washington, and they basically busted a prostitution ring in this small town. And like a lot of like prominent names, like again, small town, kind of everybody knows everybody, but like there are certain people that are like more prominent within the community, right? And
Right.
um lots of like prominent names within the community were busted for participating in this prostitution ring. And a lot of them were like dads, coaches, like in the community. One of them was like owned this like very popular and successful dental practice in the
Ooh.
community. And I'm like, in what world does a guy get to the point where he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go get a hooker and then I'm just gonna go coach some t-ball.
Like in the same day, like,
Like,
hold
like
on.
what do you zip your pants up on your way out to go
Just
coach t-ball? Like, what
get a shot
the
of
hell?
penicillin on the way out and
Like, this is ridiculous. Like, my brain cannot wrap around like I understand that that happens, and like obviously it happened, but like my brain cannot compute the like the wholesome dad
yeah, just
just getting a little
oh,
hooker.
you have no idea. Just for a fun side note, we'll get into it a different time. My grandfather was a sheriff in a small town called Wells, Nevada, and in his retirement age, he was the handyman at the whorehouse in Wells, Nevada.
Oh,
Yeah. So, broken headboards or stuff like that. He just
I'm just
walk over there and fix it
doing
up.
my
And then, yeah. So
That's hilarious.
it
Love
is. It really is super funny.
mine's less exciting because no is my answer, but
No.
just because like I'm gonna be totally honest, I have not been reading at all. I am so done by the end of the day, it's not even funny. I'm like not even scrolling before bed. Like I probably could read in at night when I pump instead of Sam and I like will sit and watch a show together. But like honestly, we sit and we watch stand-up comedy and like my brain needs that at that point
Oh
of
yeah.
the night.
I always like to watch something funny at night. Like
Yeah.
I can't do like, I know I was thinking of you guys the other day because Yellowstone keeps popping up in my, and I know people love it. And I was like, it's too deep for me to watch before I
It
go to
was
sleep.
too deep for me. I had to stop watching it actually. But anyways, recently a friend of mine just said that this book changed her mind, changed her life. I don't know if it changed her life, but like it really blew her mind. That's the word I'm looking for. And it's called The Anxious Generation, and it's basically a book talking about like what we can do to not raise anxious kids because like our generation and the generation um just below us. It's like I'm a millennial. What is it? Gen X,
Yeah.
Gen Z, and
Gen
Gen
Z.
Alpha.
Yeah.
Um, are basically like they're seeing an insane uptick in anxiety and depression in that yep, and it has everything to do with transitioning from like a play-based childhood to a phone-based childhood. And anyways, she said it like really like rocked her world, and I'm excited to read it. Like Sam and I have had lots of conversations about like when a phone is getting introduced, what rules are, and like I truthfully, I don't give a shit how much this kid pushes back. Like I feel like I'm gonna be such a hardo about it, not only because of like stuff like this, but just because like I know how much it affects me,
Yeah.
right? And my brain is developed, you know?
Yeah.
Like I know how shitty I feel when I'm spending so much time on my phone. And it's like, and my brain is developed. Like, anyways, so I feel like I'm gonna be such a hardo about that, but I think there is also the other like flip side of the coin of like it is a different generation, and you can't totally shelter your kid from that because like they need to be able to like know how to use it and like create a healthy relationship with it,
Yeah.
too. So I think there's the flip side to that. But anyways, I'm excited to read that. So if anybody else is interested in that. I thought that one it really piqued my interest when I heard her talking about it. So, but it hasn't blown my mind yet because I haven't
Got
read
it. Got it.
it. Okay. Uh, what is something that people assume about you that isn't true? Or I guess what if we did this for each other? We'll flip this question around. Like, what do you think people assume about me that like isn't true? And what do I think people assume about you that I know isn't true?
Um, that's a good question. I mean, the first one that would come to my mind is like just because I know all the different stuff that you have is like that you are hyper organized and like have like because I've seen your binders where you're like, I have this sticky note, I have this, I have this, and I have this, and it's like not that it's not, but it looks more
Chaos.
dialed in than it actually is. It look on paper, it looks amazing. In reality, it's
It's a
not
shit
quite.
show.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that. It's just
Nope.
and a lot of
That's
people
it.
get that where you like you have it laid out and you're like, yeah, that's just for show. That's not getting like that's not how that happens.
I'm a type AB, and B definitely shines in my organizational skills. And it's not even like my house is very organized, like certain like I'm very like routine driven, like all of that is very like organized, but everything else is a disaster.
I mean, you only got so much bandwidth. I get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's only,
Oh yeah. Shit falls through the cracks, and that's certainly one of them. Um, I think people may assume that like you are a not like a not like a hardo, like that's not like a but like a macho like dude. right? Like you lift all the time, like you're super into like your health, you're very regimented, like about what you eat and your food and like all of those different things. And I think like uh is it like from the outside looking in, they could like label you as just like a gym bro, right?
Really? I've never even thought of myself as that ever.
Right. But like as soon as somebody like actually gets to know you, like you are not a gym bro. You're not a gym bro at all. So like, but I think from the outside, if you just looked at like, this guy that, does work out all the time and, like meal preps and does all of these like different things and listens to mind pump
Which is
media.
funny, but yeah, because I do. And then the funny part about this, I could see that now that you're saying it. And I am like, even that atmosphere, like, so there are guys on there that like, they love to like not give each other shit, but just like jab and like put each other down. And that's like funny to them. And that like irritates me. I'm like, I'm not that person. I don't want to be like, hey, you're dumbass, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like, what? No, I'm not doing that. Like, and I had a friend or a coworker whose husband was like that. And every time he'd say something, he'd be like, he'd like make insults, but he was like trying to like bro me. And I was like, nope, doesn't work. That's not how
That's
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 not
not
how
how
I
I
operate,
bond.
buddy. That's not like, I love joking with people, but yeah, I could see what you're saying. Like, yeah.
Yeah, but again, it doesn't take long. But I think like if somebody did not know you and didn't spend time with you, they could assume that.
Well, the one thing that I do get from my athletes is so well, you already know this. I have like a very sarcastic sense of humor, and I will
Yeah.
like sometimes throw shit out there. And like my new athletes are terrified of me, and they never know if I'm kidding. They're like, "Oh my God, was that serious?" So the other ones are like, "Yeah, he's usually never serious. Like he's always making a joke or he's giving you a hard time, but that's just the way he is. He's not serious about anything."
Yeah, that's funny. That's very funny. If you had to choose just one daily habit that made the biggest impact on your well-being, like if you could hang your hat on one of the like daily habits that you have and like couldn't give it up because you feel like it makes the biggest impact on how you feel,
You already know the answer to this.
your workout.
This my workout. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't.
Specifically lifting. I would never, I
Yeah.
don't know if I would ever give up just because, and like I've learned to moderate it though a lot. I have like some of the things I'll do in the morning where like it's not necessarily lifting. It's like, hey, it's mobility work, but like it's in the gym and it's lifting. But like I
Right.
think that pays the biggest dividends even compared to like cardio or anything else I do. It just like, and I'm seeing a lot of it. Oh, there was this one, you have to look it up. I can't remember what it is. Kenna did this phenomenal commercial about staying healthy in the last 10 years of your life. So if you get a chance, look it up because
Oh,
it
yeah.
was very like, it was everything I joke about, like when we joke about like our old self,
Mm-hmm.
like it was like a whole montage put together where like, like it was like,
Entourage?
or sorry, like a whole, I don't even know what that
Montage.
montage. There we go. Of like one guy
Entourage.
who did healthy stuff and one guy who didn't. And it was like, you can either have this guy was out on his bike, like it showed a wheel, like two wheels, and one guy's out on his bike, and the other one is like wheeled around in a wheelchair in a home. Like, and those are
Yeah,
all those things where you're like, that makes the biggest difference. And that's
totally.
where I mean, I'm an older person, but that's where honestly look at is like, I need to not be that human. So,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the one part for me. What would you not give up in your routine?
If my workout could be outside, I would say that. If I could like, if I could lift outside, I would pick that. But if I couldn't and it was just like gym workout, or I think I might pick my walk. And maybe I would start, running to get like some physical challenge or something. But like getting outside, like being active outside, literally keeps me sane.
Yeah. I mean, I love it too. I don't get it all the time, but like walking my dog is one of those things where we can just take them and then it almost resets you really well.
Yeah, it is such a like reset for me, recenter. Like I could leave and be in such a shitty mood, and I get back and I'm like, whew, okay, shake it off, and we just move forward.
Yes,
Like,
I agree. That's a
yeah,
close second for me. I do enjoy that. Plus, The one extra nice part about that would be usually I'm taking a walk with my wife and the dogs, and that's always a good time for us to just talk and reconnect and have.
Yeah. Yeah. But I say that, and the biggest thing that made the impact for me and like controlling my like anxiety postpartum was being able to like actually work out again. Like I was walking plenty, but like that made the biggest difference. So that's where like it would be really hard for me
Yeah.
to I would have to find a way to like challenge myself. But like getting outside, getting physical activity outside is definitely it for me. Um, is there a like belief or something that you held on to that you have since changed your mind or stance about?
Mhm. I mean, other than birds aren't real, they're government employees to
Birds or
spy on us.
drones? I'll start with mine.
Sure, go for it.
Well, I feel like I've kind of like just generally mellowed on a lot of things. Like I used to take like a really hard stance on like I don't like this and this is bad and blah, 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 and just like I don't know. As I've gotten older, I'm kind of like do whatever the fuck you
Just
want.
whatever. I don't
Yeah.
care.
But I used to really shit on like challenges and things, and I still really don't like 75 hard, but like that's a good example, right? Like
Sure.
of just like a challenge. And I know that they are not for me, but I don't think that means they are for nobody. You know what I
Sure.
mean?
That makes
Like
sense. Yeah.
I think there are people that really benefit from like participating in something that makes them feel like they are connected to something, have community, and if that's what they need to get over the hump to like start something, great. Obviously, like where I struggle with challenges and things are like, anybody can do anything for, X amount of time. And then like what happens on the day after the challenge is over. But if we can enter into it with a good mindset and like some good pieces in place and like we have the right mentality of like we're utilizing this to see like how we can integrate these activities and behaviors into our life beyond 30 days, 60 days, 75 days, whatever. And then, like, I think it can be a good thing. And so it's like, how much is harmful versus helpful? I think a lot of times they end up being more harmful than helpful, but I think for the right personality, I think they can be really beneficial. Um, because it like provides some sort of external accountability, especially when the behavior isn't developed yet. Having that external accountability can be really important to get you to participate, and
Sure.
then we can build the internal accountability as we go. Like we can't always rely on that external accountability, but I think it can be helpful to get over the hump for some personalities. But that's something I've definitely like softened on because I used to be like,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, that makes sense.
but that's what came to my mind.
I think the one thing that I've probably changed my mind on a lot is I thought I would, it's like a two-part thing. I thought well, first of all, I used to think that if you followed enough like health people that you would be getting good quality advice that will help you in life. And I think like especially in the last 2 years that most of the health and fitness social media, like all this stuff is just turned like toxic and negative and is actually not helping a lot of people. So I think that is something where I changed my mind. But the one that really sticks out for me is I thought health was this like climb to where you reach kind of like this peak
The
of health.
pinnacle.
Yeah. And actually, the more I'm listening in lots of facets, it's like a pendulum or a spectrum.
Yeah.
And I actually believe I used to believe obviously you have one side where people aren't worried about their health and that's not good. But on the other side, I'm just like hearing so much about people going crazy with health that it's unhealthy. And that's where I'm like trying to be like, just, like someone's like, well, you shouldn't use like, what was it? any sort of spray additives, like, you know, when you spray olive oil on stuff,
Yeah.
they're like, well, you're just putting butane all over your food and then you're eating butane and like, because
Is that
there's got to be
bad?
some, but you're, yeah, like, or, you know, like poison kind of, or dosage makes the poison. But like, that's one thing that I've kind of swung across is like, you can get too healthy and it's actually detrimental to your life. And like, you're hyper focusing on stuff that really doesn't matter. And you're creating stress off of something that should be bringing you joy. So like, I used to think health was going to be this peak at which you would get there and you know everything would be great, and I feel like it's not. It's finding a happy medium in between, and if you go too much it's unhealthy, and I will debate and fight people on that all day. Like, I don't, if you're stressing over some of this stuff, like, I mean, not that it's not going to help, but like it like red number 5 is like, that's great, but it's like, you know, if that is your biggest health problem, then you pretty dialed in. For most people, a lot of
Yeah,
more big rocks that we can move than just getting that out of your diet.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally, totally. I love that. Um, there are some others. Let's wrap it up with this one.
Okay.
Do you struggle with imposter syndrome? If so, how do you handle it?
Um, yes and no. Like, I imposter syndrome at the recently time that it hit me, I've been in my job or my career so well or so long that I think maybe at the beginning you kind of have that, like, I don't really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Um, I think the last time that it hit me was when I very much, or we started working with clients on a regular basis. Like, it just came from a, when things are so regular to you, like you kind of get this, like, do I really know what I'm talking about? Should, like, am I really the authority on this? And then as you start to work through stuff,
Yeah.
it kind of it just dissipated and you just become
Yeah.
more comfortable. And like, I don't have all the answers, but that's okay. Like, I'm just going to help them in any way, shape, or form that I can. But I don't have,
Yeah.
um, a lot of that outside of when I try new things, because like even a men's health group that I'm working with, there's a lot of things where I'm countering what people are saying, but I was like, I know I'm not wrong because you're focusing on stuff that doesn't matter. Like,
Yeah.
you just are. And so like if they don't like it, that's completely fine. You don't have to take it. And I think you also hit that peak or point where it's like, well, if you don't really like what I have to say, you don't have to listen to me anymore. That's a pretty,
Yeah.
you know, easy thing. So
Yeah.
not a ton, but a little bit.
Yeah. I think I similarly, I think I had more of it in the beginning. Um, and again, it just comes with like repetition of like doing the thing that is uncomfortable becomes more comfortable over time as you just like exercise that muscle and you continue to show up like through the discomfort. Um, but it's still, it still pokes up every now and then, I think, of like, who am I to be, running this company or who am I to, whatever. But like, I think what helps me handle it as it does pop up is similar of just like being, I think imposter syndrome can come up more and live in your brain more if you are trying to portray yourself as this like expert guru that has all of the answers.
Yeah.
And I think if you look at it more from like a leadership type perspective, um, and can like lead with a sense of authority on a particular topic or subject, but like also being authentic and transparent that like I don't have all of the answers and I do make mistakes and like I am a human being, right? I think that alleviates a lot of that imposter syndrome that like you have to know everything, know it all the time. And it can almost sometimes be more of like similar to what that guy said on his podcast, like, I'm going to sit here with you
Yeah.
and we're going to figure this out together versus like, I'm going to tell you what to do and you're going to go do it.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you can kind of restructure that a little bit to where we're sitting together and we're going to work through this and figure this out together, and I'm going to use my knowledge and skill set to help do that, like, I think that alleviates a lot of that imposter syndrome and can kind of like reframe it in your brain of like, because if you are we had the whole episode on like the how do you feel about like the fake it till you make it kind of idea.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there like trying to fake it till you make it, then yeah, you are going to be dealing with a lot of imposter syndrome. And so it's like, let's not fake it. Let's lead with what we know and what we're confident in, and then like be authentic and sit there and work through it with whoever it is that you're trying to help with them, instead of trying to portray yourself as some expert that is perfect.
Well, and I think one thing that I've learned in those situations this is what helps me a lot. It may not help anyone else. Like if I go into it, like you said, very authentic and very, like if we're talking about something and I'm saying like, okay, Heidi, I could be wrong here, but this is what I'm reading, or I'm
Yeah.
shooting in the dark, or this is what I feel like I'm going, tell me if I'm right. And you create a conversation that it just goes away because you're like, we're just two people talking, trying to figure shit out. And like, I might have more information. That doesn't mean all my information is going to be right or apply to you or be in this situation, but like, I'm going to give you everything I have within the realms and the opinions of what I can do. And then in that facet, to me, I feel like it goes away because I'm doing the best I can. And you know that, like, you're not like, oh, okay, well, he said this. It's like, man, I'm trying to help you with the information I got. And here's what I see. Maybe you don't see this. I could be wrong. I could be shooting in the dark, but this is what I'm feeling or what I'm getting from you. Does that sound, like, does that sound right? Is that correct? And you can pivot and you give yourself room. And like you said, you're not this absolute guru. You have all this wiggle room to just sit with someone and have a conversation.
Yeah. Yeah. I wholeheartedly agree. I think when you come from that perspective, the imposter syndrome starts to dissipate a little bit because you start to feel like less of an imposter,
Yeah.
because you're not like posing as anything. Like you just are who you are.
And you say, like, I got this, like, I have this information, but like, the less you, I don't know, you take yourself less serious. You're just like, hey, I'm
And
just here to help and I'll do everything I can. And like
yeah,
putting your heart and everything out there and just letting them know, like, I'm not perfect, but I'm going to give you all I can, just tears down those walls for everyone.
yeah, agreed. I agree. Well, that was a fun little Q&A sesh.
Was I like it? Those are some
I got a,
great questions.
yeah, I got a few more that I'll pocket for the next Q&A because there's still some good questions we just didn't have time to get to. But hopefully that was fun, helpful, a little peek into the brain of Tyler and Heidi. And yeah, I'm excited to hang out with you guys next week.
Thanks for being here. Love to have you. Guys, have a great week.